Here in battleground Wisconsin, first-time voter Bradley Galvin tells us he thinks Trump will improve the economy.
I feel like he was one of the first politicians that kind of just says what he wants and doesn't try to pretend someone he's not.
It is no secret that Kamala Harris is underperforming when it comes to men, but the question is why? Why do men not trust Kamala Harris? Well, in this video, we're going to dive deep on that. We're going to watch a couple of clips. Now, let's start with CNN bringing this point up and exposing Kamala Harris's weakness.
There are only 46 days until Election Day, and the Harris-Walz campaign is struggling to appeal to a group of voters that could determine the outcome of the election, and that is men. That's not a group that seems to be a problem for former President Donald Trump. He plays golf with Bryson DeChambeau. He shows up on Theo Von's podcast. He meets up with boxer Jake Paul. If you don't know any of those people, talk to your 25-year-old gamer son. He knows them. I want to bring in CNN's Audie Cornish, host of the Assignment podcast, and Peter Hamby, host of Snapchat's Good Luck America. And Peter, you argue that Trump has more of an appeal among young men, whereas the Democrats haven't had a cool guy candidate in a while. You say some of it's because of Trump's more macho brand, but other parts of it is because of the economy?
I think so. Jake, thanks for having me, by the way. First of all, it's true in the polls, and some of this has been noise over this last year, and we haven't been able to really clarify whether this is happening. I think it's absolutely the case, and probably unrecoverable for Democrats, that men under 30 are drifting toward Donald Trump. In the ABC Washington Post poll from last weekend, sorry, just ABC, forgive me, Kamala Harris is winning young women by like 38 points. She was only winning young men by 3 points, and that shows up in other polls. If you go back to Biden 2020, Hillary Clinton, Obama's 2 elections, they were winning young men by 20 points, double digits. So that lead has gone away. I do think there is a cultural appeal. It's pretty apparent if you talk to young men, white, Hispanic, and black, that Trump just connects on some level. It could be changing notions of masculinity. It could be the fact that they're growing up in a media environment where they listen to Theo Von and Joe Rogan, and it's a non-traditional environment. But the number one issue for men in any poll, like most people, is the economy. Kamala Harris's campaign is talking about the economy, yes, but a lot of it is geared toward abortion and abortion rights, which is the number one issue for young women. And look, the labor force is changing. It's more female. College campuses are changing. Male enrollment is falling while female enrollment is going up. And so it's a mix of factors. But I absolutely, Jake, think that this spread could be crucial. Democrats need to win 60% of the youth vote to win the election. That's what happened with Biden. Didn't happen with Hillary Clinton. She only hit like 58, 55, I think. So right now, Kamala Harris, among voters under 30, she's polling at around 55%. Maybe she can make up for it elsewhere. But it is a very interesting margin.
So you heard that, right? She's underperforming by at least 20 points versus Joe Biden. This is why we've been saying over and over and over again that she is the worst polling Democrat to ever run against Donald Trump. That's just fact. So does that mean that she'll win the election? I don't think she will. I think it's either one or two situations. Either one, she's going to blow Trump out of the water because the polls are just so wrong, or two, she's going to get blown out of the water. And the reason why she will is because, again, men are not buying her messaging. See, this is business 101, right? Marketing is so essential. If you don't know how to market, you're not going to sell anything. And unfortunately, her marketing does not align with young men. And the bottom line is this. Younger men are attracted to Donald Trump because it's in their instinct to do that, meaning every man wants to be someone who makes a lot of money, who is respected in their community, who is a leader of people, who provides for their family, and is someone who's contributing to society. That's in every instinct of men. Not all men rise to that occasion, of course, but any young man today, that's absolutely what they're focused on. And so it makes sense why they would be going towards Trump instead of Kamala Harris, especially when Kamala Harris chooses Tim Walz as her running mate, which is the most feminine man you can have running as a vice president. Tim Walz does not strike me as someone that I look at and say, yeah, I want to be like him. No. More men look at Trump and say, I'd rather be Trump than Tim Walz. You know, that's just what it is.
And Audie, The Harris campaign strategy is to go after the gettable men, those who are persuadable. Who are they?
Well, what we know is that women over time are more likely to identify as liberal. And the difference between them and men is that it's people with and without college degrees. Whereas for men, that's not so much the case. So I think that's why you see both campaigns specifically looking at men without college degrees. Just to underscore something that Peter just said, it's also about animating your base and who are the people who are actually going to leave their house and pull the lever for you. There is a world of young men who are more apathetic. So it's not necessarily that they are so in love with Trump, it's that they are disaffected, and that's what makes them quote unquote up for grabs, which is why you see these like very desperate things going on. We're visiting a Bitcoin bar. We're going to be, Tim Waltz like doing a video while he's changing his car filter. It's quite literal,
Yeah.
but it's the idea that somehow you have to reach through these people's algorithms.
And Peter, so how does the Harris campaign go after young male voters, and not just white men, but black and Latino men with whom Trump is making gains? We ran a little excerpt of a White Dudes for Harris digital ad the other day that I have to say, I don't think that's going to be enough.
I agree with you on that, Jake. A great ad will show and not tell why you should vote for a candidate. That White Dudes for Harris ad, which the viewers may or may not have seen, it just says that Harris and Walz are better than Trump for men. It doesn't tell you why. It doesn't show you images as to why. Audie makes a great point. A lot of this is a branding problem. John Della Volpe, who runs the Harvard Youth Poll, I believe he's been on your show. We all know him, like the gold standard of youth polling. He has found that among young men, among Gen Z men, their values around the role of government, around healthcare, around climate change are actually still more aligned with Democrats. It's just a branding and messaging problem. So my question is, and I wrote this for Puck this week, is who are the Democrats who can go into a Theo Vaughn space, go on Joe Rogan? These are not Republicans. They might like Trump notionally, but just go in there and validate Kamala Harris's economic message, validate her in some ways. It used to be that Barack Obama could do that by going on SportsCenter. The media environment is so fractured now that it's more difficult to reach those audiences. And then who does it? Maybe Tim Walz. He's obviously done the football coach shtick. But it's hard to think of someone other than Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama. Look, I don't want to oversimplify, just a dude type who can go talk to these other dudes.
Yeah, that's my point of the matter of this video, is that the brand, the image, it does not align with blue-collar workers, and I'm talking about men. It doesn't align with men who want to go out there and make a name for themselves in a more traditional sense. But what I find to be very interesting is her campaign knows what they're doing. They're double downing on women, of course, and they're banking on the fact that more women will show up and vote than men. But the question is, will that be enough? A lot of people don't think it will, actually, because the polling is so close. And because it's so close, if what happened in 2020 happens again, Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. And the top pollster for CNN pointed this out. Watch.
My goodness gracious, could the race be any tighter in these battleground states? Look, in the Great Lakes, you got Harris by 2 in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, well within the margin of error. How about in the Sun Belt, though? It's even tighter. You got a 1-point race in Nevada favoring Kamala Harris. You got a less than 1-point race in North Carolina, Trump ahead, but we're talking about like 0.2 percentage points. Arizona, a 1-point advantage. Georgia, a 1-point advantage for Donald Trump. The race, very, very close. Now, let's just say the polls were exactly right. What does that mean for the electoral map? Well, it would mean a really tight race. Look at this. Kamala Harris getting 276 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 262, mostly on the basis of winning these Great Lake battleground states, despite the fact that Trump carries 3 of the 4 Sun Belt battleground states. But the bottom line is, Kate Baldwin and dear audience, this race is tight, tight, tight.
Now, in the realm of playing the hypotheticals.
Yes.
So let's do that.
Yes, I love those.
Comparing how, if the polling is off, like it was in 2020, what would that do to the electoral map?
So look at Donald Trump's electoral vote total right now, if the polls are exactly right, 262. But let's say the polls are off like they were back in 2020. Look where he goes. He goes to 312. Why is that? Because the polls underestimated Donald Trump in 2020. So the bottom line is, instead of losing those Great Lake battleground states, he wins all of them. He obviously holds on to North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, and he gains Nevada. So if the polls are as good as they were in 2020, despite the fact that at this particular hour Donald Trump trails in enough states to give Kamala Harris the victory, if the polls are off like they were in 2020, Donald Trump would actually win the election.
Now, if I had to bet on the election, I'm going to bet my money that it's more likely to happen that he will overperform again in 2020, even if it's just 1% or 2 percentage points, versus Kamala Harris overperforming. I just don't believe Kamala Harris, who's only had about 60 days, obviously, to run as the Democratic nominee, is going to get that level of support that Donald Trump will get. Maybe if she was running a campaign for the last 3 years where people truly got to know her, they truly got to see who she really is and what she stands for, and that message was repeated over and over for the last 3 years, maybe then, but the bottom line is most people still don't know her. When the election day happens, people still won't know her. And that's a problem that you have when you run a candidate at the last minute. Now, if you recall, they were trying to push this White Dudes for Harris ad, right, to appeal for men. Wait till you see how cringe this is.
Hey, white dudes. So, I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem. And yeah, some white dudes are. Trump and all his MAGA buddies are out there making it worse, shouting nonsense in their stupid red hats and acting like they speak for us when they don't. All they've ever done is screw us over. But if you're not on the MAGA train, where do you go? Isn't it just swapping out one crappy option for another? Then it hit me. This isn't about picking teams. It's about who's got a plan that's gonna make life better for me and my family. So I've been doing my own research and decided to check out Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And before you jump down my throat, they're actually talking to guys like us. No lectures, no BS. Just real solutions that protect our freedoms and help us take care of the people who matter. And honestly, I think Harris and Walz are the ones to make that happen. End of the day, you're your own man. It's your call. But if anyone gives you crap about it, tell them it's none of their damn business.
Yikes. I mean, that ad is, that's trash. I mean, to be honest. I mean, nothing in that ad inspired me to think otherwise. Now, obviously, I'm going to vote for Trump. But if I was trying to be, I guess, unbiased, I don't know what the message is there, right? And the reason why is because there is no message. The problem with Democrats is they are behind this mindset that men are not valued in this world anymore, that it's more about women being in charge. And I know that's crazy, but all you have to do is look at the policies. All you have to do is listen to the language, right? And how they minimize the value and impact of men. And I say this all the time, both men and women are equal in the sense that they both bring something to the table that the other one simply cannot, right? Mothers are so important for this world because they're raising our future generation. If that's not the most important job, I don't know what is. It's probably the hardest one too. And then obviously men are the individuals who have built this world. Everything that we use every single day, everything, all the luxuries that we're experiencing, the roads that we drive on, the buildings we work in, the airplane we fly on, it's all been built by men. So at the end of the day, the Democrats, they're doubling down on this gender war and trying to get women to come out. That's why they can't let go of the childless cat lady comment from J.D. Vance. That's why Oprah made a dig at him. Julia Roberts made a dig at him. And they're not going to let it go because it's a tool for them to use to try to get votes. And finally, if I'm the Kamala Harris campaign, you have to accept the reality that you will probably lose. And the reason why I say this is for really a couple of reasons. Number one, men are not going to show up and vote for you at the same rate that they voted for Joe Biden. And a lot of those men are located where? in the Rust Belt states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Huge deal. Number two, the Muslim population isn't going to vote for you either. They're either going to sit out or vote Trump because of your mishandling of the Hamas and Israel war. And third, for people who truly are undecided, they probably won't vote at all, or they'll just vote Trump because you've yet to make that connection and provide that level of clarity for them. Like, that's my message to her campaign, and that's why I believe she will lose. I just think it's a simple explanation. It's not science in a way. If Trump does even half of what he did in 2020 as far as him overperforming, he becomes the next president of the United States. So that's my opinion. What's yours? What do you guys think about the fact that Kamala Harris is not going to be getting a large vote from men in this country? What do you think about how close the polls are and how that will impact that, of course? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want to support the channel, go to the link in my description, grab yourself a t-shirt, buy us a cup of coffee, stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.